We are now living in a reality where Stolitz and Blitz's relationship is completely severed until further notice. But let's be real with ourselves here, it looks like these guys are going to make up at some point, potentially even before Season 2 is over, so I wanted to take this video to go over the events I think could occur which would result in these two reconciling, even if it's just a little bit. Wanted to let you guys know that this video is brought to you guys by my Patreon page and my other channel, VGMan. VGMan is a channel I've had for a bit now that I use as another creative outlet for myself to talk about video games, mostly Nintendo ones like Mario, Pokemon, or Zelda, and discuss various topics about said games, whether it be lore or ranking style videos. The Patreon is still pretty new, but it's got 2 tiers right now with perks like being able to see certain videos early, sneak peeks through thumbnails, or shoutouts in a video. I would like to open a Discord at some point too. Huge thanks to London Morse and Draconis for becoming gold tier members. You guys' support, it really means the world to me. Now, let's get into it. So the way Stolas ended things with Blitz at the end of the Full Moon episode was framed in a way where it's setting up Blitz needing to do some thinking to figure out how to not only figure out his true feelings for Stolas, but how he's going to apologize to him in a proper manner. Granted, after rewatching this episode a couple times and discussing the events with some friends, it does feel like Stolas does owe Blitz an apology as well, since he didn't really give Blitz enough of a chance to explain himself, and was the one to lay out the original terms of their arrangement, not Blitz. It's one of those things where it feels like a lot of people are giving Stolas a lot more credit than Blitz, despite them being borderline equally at fault in this situation, but because Stolas has a more comforting personality and songs with sad tones, it's easier for folks to feel more sympathetic towards him than Blitz. All of this is where the episode Apology Tour comes in. Despite no outright confirmations yet due to the episode, well, not being out to the public, I think it's a pretty safe bet to make that Verosika will be playing a major role in this episode. She's a music artist that goes on concert tours. Apology Tour is the name of the episode, and there was footage of her talking to Blitz from the Season 2 trailer. Quite a bit of evidence to support the fact that she'll be in this episode. She and Blitz will meet up by coincidence at some point, leading to the two of them talking about what went wrong in their relationship. Based on the pictures we saw on Blitz's phone from the Aussies episode, it looks like Verosika was the last serious relationship Blitz was in, with everything that happened from then on after their breakup being more casual sexual encounters. Of course, now the most recent falling out with Stolas changes things. Verosika has already shown in her past interactions with Blitz that she's not afraid to hold back when it comes to confronting troubling things from her past, so she'll call him out for his shitty actions. Granted, I don't think her just completely berating him is going to be enough to flip the switch in his head, considering the previous interactions Blitz has had with other characters he's had trouble with, like Fizz or Moxie, where the interactions with them start intense at first, but as the interactions go on, it becomes a lot more calm and civil until both parties are able to reach an understanding. Perhaps Verosika and Blitz will be forced to go through some kind of conflict where they're forced to work together before reconciliation between them happens, since that was another common aspect of the Blitz-Moxie and Blitz-Fizz situations. Blitz and Moxie were tied up on the verge of death while Blitz and Fizz had to work together to flee from Crimson's mob army. Hell, there's a chance that after Verosika makes up with Blitz, Blitz goes to try to make up with Stolas by the end of the Apology Tour episode. This isn't meant to be a dig at Hell of a Boss's pacing, but historically speaking, this is something they could very easily do. Though just because Blitz earned Stolas' forgiveness here doesn't automatically mean they're going to start dating right after. Stolas still needs to do some more self-reflecting of his own, in my opinion. The trailer did show some scenes of Blitz and Stolas talking that weren't from the Full Moon episode. One scene of Stolas standing up, presumably scolding Blitz about something based on his facial expressions. Maybe the line of him saying, "Do you feel any kind of remorse for what you do?" is a conversation that happens at the beginning of Apology Tour, which leads to Blitz wandering around hell and running into Verosika after the fact. Then the scene of Stolas wearing the same outfit smiling at Blitz while laying down happens at the very end, maybe? If Apology Tour is still planning to air in June, then we'll know within the next couple of weeks, but it wouldn't surprise me if the crew decides to delay it to early July or the very end of June. This is going off the assumptions that Full Moon's delay is going to have a direct impact on the remaining Season 2 episodes, which, as of me making this video, we don't know if that's for sure the case or not. The scene of Stolas singing could also take place at the very end of Apology Tour, since he's singing while Verosika and Vortex are standing on stage with him. It looks like a banner that says Blitz sucks is behind him as well. Granted, the Halloween fan in me thinks the concert could maybe be taking place in the Ghostfuckers episode, since we can see a bunch of pumpkins on the stage and Verosika is wearing a different outfit here than the one she was wearing in the short scene we saw of her and Blitz in the trailer. The idea of Stolas going on this quote-unquote Apology Tour alongside Blitz is also possible, and would be a good way for the both of these characters to realize their wrongdoings that they've done from both ends of their previous agreement. That voiceover line from Octavia heard in the trailer serving as another piece of evidence for this. Even though the last time we saw Stolas and Octavia together, they were on solid terms watching fireworks in Los Angeles, for her to come out of nowhere with this kind of energy towards her dad could be stemmed from Stolas falling into another depression with Blitz being out of his life for the foreseeable future. By extension, the song Stolas is singing with Verosika and Vortex could be directed towards Octavia, Blitz, or even both of them. With that close-up of Blitz looking sad while wearing a blanket is him Stephen talking to Stolitz again at the end of Apology Tour rather than the scene of Stolitz wearing his robe. That seems to line up more actually, since Blitz was wearing this same blanket when talking to Verosika. Somewhat off topic, but still on topic, something that feels really overdue in my opinion is some kind of direct interactions with Stella and Octavia. Their respective relationships with Stolas are a lot more relevant to the story, yeah, but the fact that Stella does play a massive part in this family dynamic, yet hasn't interacted with her daughter on screen once, does feel a bit odd in my opinion. Hopefully that changes before season 2 concludes. When it comes to the events of Mastermind and Sinsmith, these look like they'll be focusing on Stolas facing the consequences of his actions through sleeping with Blitz, specifically from the Ars Goetia, with some of the 7 deadly sins getting involved. Stolas, Octavia, Stella, and Andrealphus will all heavily be involved in this situation, of course. The setup for Sinsmith, at least, seems to be the Ars Goetia figuring out how Stolas will be punished for destroying his marriage and sleeping with a lower-class imp. I'd imagine this is going to function like a court hearing of some sort, with other demons being brought in as witnesses to help in either Stella's case or Stolas' case. Mammon likely inadvertently helping Stella's case since he got into it with Ozzy, another sin who's in an extremely similar situation to Stolas, and kept talking about how Ozzy is going to regret the decision to go public with his relationship. So it's only natural that those same beliefs he has would be applied to the Stolas relationship. Satan will be making his big debut this season as well, only so far we've only seen him in silhouette form, calling someone a disgrace who, for the sake of this video, I'd assume is Stolas. And even though we haven't seen them in any footage yet, I feel like for this to be a more fair trial for Stolas, sins who he and Blitz had more positive interactions with should be brought in. Ozzy, of course, being a big one. They didn't really get off on the right foot at first, but eventually grew more of a mutual respect for one another to the point where Ozzy was willing to give Stolitz one of his crystals for Blitz to use. Beelzebub maybe could show up too, since her interactions with Blitz were mostly positive. Granted, with Kesha being her voice actress and all, I can't help but wonder if her appearance was a one and done thing, unless they just recast her the same way Norman Reedus was recast for the role of Stryker by Edward Bosco. The outcome of the trial will probably end in Stella's favor too, since it looks like it's going to climax with Andrealphus trying to kill Stolas using his cryokinesis. Blitz in particular having to be the one to defend him. Andrealphus was the one who was against killing Stolas until the time was right while talking to Stella in Western Energy. So for him to be going after Stolas now leads me to believe he and Stella were actually able to strip Stolas of his power and gain all of his possessions. On paper, I can't see Blitz just outright beating Andrealphus either. Blitz is a good hand-to-hand combatant with incredibly sharp shooting skills, but it doesn't look like he's got a gun on hand here, just a large knife. Not sure if that'll be enough to deal with Andrealphus for an extended period of time. Maybe for a short period, but not long. I can't help but wonder why Stolas doesn't seem to be doing anything to defend himself either, because it doesn't look like there's any holy rope near him that would be hindering his abilities. On paper, Stolas should be stronger than someone like Andrealphus, with them being a part of the same family and Stolas having a higher status in hell. This could be one of those exceptions where the higher status doesn't automatically equal the better fighter, I suppose. Maybe IMP will have to step in to assist Blitz and Stolas the same way they did in Full Moon, where we got a big battle between those guys versus Andrealphus and maybe Stella as well. We don't really know what kind of fighting capability Stella has outside of the, typical violent outburst. She hasn't shown any magic like her brother or Stolas. This could be a really good chance for the series to show off what she could do in that regard. With all the dust settled, having to weigh on their emotions some more from the trial, and Blitz stepping in to stand up for Stolas' life, this could serve as the final catalyst that gets Blitz and Stolas to reconcile completely to where they'd be willing to start a romantic relationship together. Let me know what you guys think of this theory and/or string of events that I think is going to take place in the comments below, especially if you have any other different theories that I didn't present in this video. Don't be a stranger to leaving a like down below if you enjoyed the video and subscribing for more content like this in the future, but for now, I will see you guys next time. Peace out, take care, bye-bye.